So we're going from being a nation of owners to a nation of renters. And that's what our kids are going to grow up with. And that means going from being citizens to being subjects. When you own a home, you care about your community. You care about your housing, your police, your schools. You go to your PTA meetings. You care about your neighbors. But more importantly, you have equity, which means that if you have an entrepreneurial impulse, you can pursue it. You can get capital. You can buy a sewing machine or something small, or you can buy, invest in a restaurant or a yoga studio or something. I was raised in a time that economists call the Great Prosperity. It was a 50-year period after World War II when the American middle class became the greatest economic engine in the history of mankind. When my uncle was president, I was a 10-year-old boy. We owned half the wealth on the face of the earth in this country. We were the biggest exporter of goods. Everybody wanted what we had. Everybody wanted our blue jeans, our transistor radios, our automobiles, our RCA Victor Victrolas. We made everything, and everybody wanted it. And we were, part of the reason that drove that was, one, we had industry after World War II when we had blown up all the industry in Europe. But the biggest contributor was that we put every American in a house after World War II with the GI Bill and a bunch of other bills that just made it easy to own a home. Because you had all these people with equity, they could suddenly invest in they could follow what Franklin Roosevelt called America's industrial genius, this entrepreneurial spirit of our country. And they could build things. And you had this ferment of economic activity that made us the richest nation in history. And today we're losing it. And the kids who are growing up today, we have betrayed them. We told them, go to college and something good's going to happen to you. And instead, it's the first generation in history that is going to be worse off from their parents, and they know it. And they know that they've been betrayed. And I'm running against two presidents who have both served a term in office and are both running on the idea that they brought great prosperity to our country. But, I spent a lot of time at people's kitchen tables, even long before. I've been running for 6 months. But, I represent, this is what I do. I'm representing right now 1,000 families in Columbiana County in East Palestine, Ohio, whose lives are upended by the Norfolk Southern spill. I represent 10,000 people in Smelter, West Virginia, who were poisoned by a DuPont zinc smelter. I represented, until recently, 10,000 people on the Ohio-West Virginia border who were poisoned by PFOAs from another DuPont plant. So I spend time talking to people, and when you say, the president says we're experiencing prosperity, they feel like they're being gaslighted. They're making choices now that, I never thought Americans would have to make. Elderly people who are splitting their prescription pills in half to make them go through the week. Mothers who are downgrading ingredients to get through the checkout line at the grocery store. A young man who told me recently in New Hampshire that every Tuesday he has to choose between filling his car up with gas and having a meal that day.